All right, let's welcome in our guest, Sacramento Kings rookie Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese, what's up, man?
What's up, my man? Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, this is exciting for us. I think you're the first rookie from this year's draft class that we've had on for a chat. So this is great. Congrats to you on your start. Before we talk a little bit about that, we were just talking offline, and I think it's important we discuss this. So when you get later on in your career and you're in year 10 or 11, the young guys are going to ask you about this period of time that we're in right now. You know, I've been in the league long enough to remember the brief experiment with synthetic basketballs. That was my rookie year. I was in the league during the lockout. Obviously, everybody that was in the league last year that had to deal with the end of the season in March and then the bubble. But I think what we're experiencing right now and what the NFL had to go through and what baseball had to go through and hockey and the WNBA, like we're all experiencing something very unique. And one of the things that's been thrown completely out of whack is the routine, the day-to-day routine of being an NBA player. It just seems like every day is totally different. I mean, just in the last 3 or 4 days for us, you know, we had a game postponed against Dallas. Our travel schedule changed. Our practice schedule changed. The NBA in the last 24 to 48 hours has now added a third daily test for us. So you and I, when we get done with this, we're recording this on Saturday night, we got to go do a second round of PCR tests in addition to the first round and the POC test that we did this morning. It's just thrown everything completely out of whack. And I know for you, as you're trying to get your feet wet, I'm sure you're trying to figure out things on the fly.
Yeah, 100%. I guess I was just, whatever now, 11 games in my career. So I think we played the Rockets like 4 or 5 games in, and I got hurt. I was out for 2 games. I tried to dunk on John Wall. I totally forgot that he jumps for everything. So he went up and caught it, and I came down, and I re-injured the same wrist that kept me out last year, and my collarbone's hurt. That's why I wear tape on it now. So I've been doing treatment I get to the gym around 2. Get my treatment in, make 100 threes, watch some film. Then we get to like our team, walkthrough sessions. Then back on the court, then it's kind of, pregame stuff, just, normal treatment, other things. Well, now that the NBA has thrown out this, you can't get there till 3 hours. It's kind of messed up the whole day. I'm used to leaving the house at like 1:30. Now I don't leave till 3:30. So I have to go in and get my treatment early in the morning. Because everybody has to be out of the facility by noon. I don't know the rhyme or the reason. I think it's, it's just a new territory for everybody, and it's just figuring it out on the fly. So stuff keeps adjusting, and I'm sure 20, 30 games from now, it's going to be even more different. So it is what it is, but we got the best job in the world, so we make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. I think we're all just trying to navigate this in real time. Yeah. And it presents its own challenge because I do think athletes in particular, we're really creatures of habit. And, when we went to the Staples Center, so LA has this, basically a complete lockdown. So in every other place we've been on the road, you get to the arena and they've got, your pregame meal sort of waiting for you in a hot box somewhere in the vicinity of the locker room. Mm-hmm. Well, at Staples Center, you had to walk down like 3 sets of corridors to an elevator on like the 6th floor and then go outside. It was a good like 15, 20-minute experience just to get your food. And we played 2 games at Staples Center. And the first time I did it, I'm like walking back, and when you're an athlete and you get that feeling like your shit's thrown off, like your whole game is thrown off. And I'm like, I got to get used to this. This is the season. This is all we're going to have right now. For us, I'm very curious. And our trainers were basically like, yeah, we don't really know. But, for this third round of testing on a game day, in terms of the timing of it and when it's going to occur, it just seems like it's all random. To be honest with you, it's all random. You're with. I want to give a special shout out to my guy Joe Resendez, who's over there in SAC with you. He was my one of our trainers in LA for a few years.
Yeah. No, he's here with me. We played Phoenix. I didn't know he was in LA, and then we played Phoenix, and CP was communicating with him the whole game. And I'm like, Joe, did you say something to him? Like, was he mad at you? He's like, no, I was in LA. I was in LA with him. So, yeah, Joe's a really good dude.
Yeah, I want to go back to the draft for a second because, I think we should talk about that whole process for you in general, but that was super untraditional, every part of it, compared to sort of how it normally is. When you were sort of like mentally preparing yourself, for this, how did you kind of stay sort of stable with the nerves of, this is your life that's happening in front of your eyes and it's changing sort of by the day?
Yeah, I mean, originally, obviously the draft was in June, but I think the first date they pushed it back to was like October or something like that. Because I mean, obviously we had to wait for the season to be done. Then ultimately got pushed back to November. So like that whole time that I was working out, in the gym, in the weight room, whatever, it felt like it was forever away. So I literally felt like while working out and stuff like, are we ever even gonna get there? Like it's taking so long. You know what I mean? Like I was in Milwaukee working out there first, and then CAA took and put a lot of us guys in Las Vegas. So it's like a complete 360 because in Milwaukee, Wisconsin's basically open. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they want you to wear a mask, but you don't really got to. Then you get to Vegas, it's like completely different. Like everything that's going around. So, it was just a different experience, but I enjoyed being around other guys that were also preparing for the draft. I felt that kept me on top of things to know where I stand with certain guys and compete against those guys on a daily basis. And then, ultimately when teams started to get eliminated from the bubble, other pros started to come. Troy Brown was there, Kyle O'Quinn was there when Philly got eliminated. So, just being able to play against those guys, work out with those guys, and just see their approach and how they work. I think that really helped me. And then, finally the day came. So everything's moving so fast, man. Like I was like, in the first preseason game, I couldn't even believe that I was in the NBA. Like I was having a hard time. Like we were in warm-ups and I get out there early, get my shots up, and I turn around and Dame's just up there logo threes. I'm like, what is going on right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is unbelievable. Then like come off a ball screen and Melo switches onto me. He shocks me, and usually I keep my dribble and back up, and I all of a sudden just pick the ball up and I'm shaking. And it's just like, it was insane. Like the first game I was so nervous. Like it was a complete like non-reflection of the player I am. But it's just been a crazy experience.
Specifically about the draft, you told Jonathan Abrams from the New York Times that you felt like you should be the number one pick, and that I'm roughballing your quote here, but in a couple years we can revisit and see if teams have any regrets. Even going into the draft, it seemed like the mock drafts had you much higher than where you went. How shocked were you that you ended up going 13th to SAC?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. I guess I wasn't shocked. I've been under the radar for most of my life, so for the most part, I usually set my expectations. Like I didn't expect to go high by any means. Like I usually set them low, and if I was to get picked high, it would just be like kind of a surprise. But I think going into the night, I think there was a couple teams that I thought I had a really good chance to, Golden State, Chicago, Detroit, or New York, or whatever would happen. And I met with SAC literally one time, 2 days before the draft, and they were like, man, we're talking about trading up to get you. We really like you. And all of a sudden it kept getting closer and closer. And then ultimately it happened. But, I love it. I think it's the perfect fit because, I think what's best for me right now in this stage of my career, is to play along another, ball dominant guy, or just that's kind of where the NBA is going, is just having 2 point guards on the floor a lot. Obviously you guys have, talked to De'Aaron recently, and, playing alongside him has been great. To on the competitive side of things, because he's young at the same time, but he always says like, man, I feel like a vet. It's like, you've been in the league for like 3-4 years. You're like 3 years older than me. He acts like he acts like he's so much older than me. Other day, a song came out of the weight room, and he's like, man, you weren't old enough to hear this in high school warm ups. Like, Darren, you're 3 years older than me. Do not sit up here and act like you're 35. You gotta stop. So it's been awesome though. All the guys are really cool. I've enjoyed it, a lot lately. I mean, obviously nobody likes to lose, but so far just team camaraderie and getting to know guys has been awesome.
Tommy, you'd agree with me on this. When we had De'Aaron on the show, so neither of us know De'Aaron very well prior to having him on the show back in September, but we were also struck. He's an old soul. Like we were shocked at his level of just maturity, and there's like a grown man quality to him.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I feel like sometimes I do like I might say something or like have a reaction that like, okay, like he's I'm 20 years old, about to be 21. Like they're like, oh, okay, like it's a young dude. But De'Aaron, I feel like he's just mellow all the time. That's just who he is. He's just a chill dude to be around. Like even when I'm with him off the court, like been to his house, like just a super cool dude. But it's awesome to have around because when you do get to be more personal with him and get him to joke around, mess around, then it on that more personal level, that's that's really cool too.
One of the common themes, Tommy, we've talked to a bunch of players recently over the last few months, and a lot of guys seem to have been overlooked when they were younger. There's a common element of just sort of getting passed over early in their career, and whether they use that as motivation or not. But to give some perspective in your story, you were basically like a top 175 recruit. I think you were. I looked it up. You were like a 3-star recruit. 3 years ago, you were leading Oshkosh North to a state championship.
Yeah.
And then you're a lottery pick, and now you're one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year. Can you just sort of describe this rise and this ascent that you've had, and what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I get asked that question a lot, especially from like younger kids and things like that. And I think my best answer is that like I just decided, shortly after my senior season and even during my senior year that it was like I have to, like from here on, I just have to outwork everybody. Like I have to be in the gym more than anybody. Like I feel like you watch a lot of videos or like interviews of like highly rated dudes that they always use that same quote, right? Like, yeah, I'm in the gym because if I'm not working, somebody else is, like everybody loves that line, but it's so true. And I think the biggest thing for me is just to stay true to who I am at all times. And, really time management became a big thing for me in college, like just managing time the right way, being in the gym as much as I can, but, obviously also focusing on the school aspect and getting sleep. Cause in high school, like I could go get 4 or 5 hours of sleep and we play the next night. I'm going to score 25, 30 points. Like I'm the best, like I'm just the best player. But then when you get to college and there's, more competition, guys are, bigger and stronger and been in college they got grown men bodies. Like I had to focus on sleep and my body feeling the best it could. And I feel like that's just helped me get to where I am, is just focusing on the right things and, really just sticking to the formula of just outworking people. I feel like I spend a lot of time, not only like on the court, but like off the court, like outside of the game of basketball, like when I'm at home, just chilling, like watching film, just watching basketball. I feel like I really just, I love the game. So it just seems to be what I do.
Mentally, so we talked to Dame, for example, about this, and we talked to a bunch of guys about this, about the chip on their shoulder, and every guy has their own version of this, and it's in a different way. And I'm curious, both with what JJ's talking about the ratings and everything like that, but also like there's been a lot of commentary about your shot, and maybe sometimes from people who know, sometimes from people who don't know, but there's been a lot of sort of people in the peanut gallery talking about your shot. Like, do you hear stuff like that and you're like, all right, I'm going to show you?
Yeah, 100%. That's been a big thing for me. Because a lot of times it's just people who, like, I went to Iowa State. Like, people need to just admit, like, yo, I've never watched an Iowa State basketball game in my life. Just say that. It's okay. You know what I mean? Or, like, they see a highlight. They see, like, a minute-long highlight of me during pre-draft, and they'll comment on it like, oh, that shot will never work. Or, like, if he shoots that in the NBA, dudes are just gonna block it. Well, first of all, like I don't know who. Like half the time, or 85% of the time, there are people who have never touched the basketball in their life. And then the other thing is, I don't understand why people think it's just like a video game. Like if I go to shoot a jumper, that I'm just holding a button and I can't adjust or I cannot pass out of it or shot fake or anything. Like if you press the button, you shoot it. You know what I mean? Like they act like I'm just gonna walk in front of people who are bigger than me and they're standing like this, and I'm just gonna go shoot it and they're not gonna block it. Like I have a hard time figuring that out. But yeah, I always keep those things in the back of my mind. You know, I keep little notes. All the time about, you know, what people say. I love being able to, you know, get a jab in at people, you know, through social media or whatever that is, just to mess around. But yeah, I definitely got some stuff bookmarked on my phone of some pretty terrible quotes. And they'll hear from me shortly. But you know, you gotta wait for the right time. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, my aunt worked at Iowa State for like 30 years.
Oh, wow.
She was a virologist. She just retired within the last couple years. So I've actually watched a ton of Iowa State basketball games, even when I was a kid. Like I grew up and I remember watching Fred Hoiberg play. You know,
yeah.
In regards to the 3-point shot, like I didn't realize you were. I knew you were playing well, but I didn't realize you were shooting it so well at a fairly high volume. You're taking basically 4.5 threes a game, and you're shooting 52%. So again, we're 11 games into the season. I don't know that you'll shoot 52% for the year. I don't.
Right.
Please don't put that quote on your phone. Please don't come out tomorrow and hit 6 threes. But
Right.
you know, just the law of averages at some point. I don't know. I just don't think you'll hit 52% for the season. But I think in terms of you know, in watching you play, just the poise, there's a maturity to your game, there's a pace to your game, and there's an efficiency to your game, which to me is the rarest quality for a rookie. Even some of the other rookies that are having great seasons, they're not doing it in the same way. LaMelo's been great, but his shooting percentages aren't great. Anthony Edwards has had some moments, but his shooting percentages aren't great. You know, besides just the work, where do you think that comfort level comes from? Is it the system? Is it just something innate that you have? Where's that comfort level that you're able to sort of just play at this pace and do it in an efficient way at such a young point in your career?
Yeah, I think there's you know, a couple of things. I think one, you know, just the people that are surrounding me, that being, you know, the staff and you know, my teammates, in the sense of that they have a lot of trust in me, and for me to be you know, first round guy, a young dude, to come here and right away, you know, kind of get the cosign from everybody, to, you know, play free and, you know, enjoy what you do. Like I think Coach Walton gives us a lot of freedom, and it's up to us if we want to take advantage of that truly. You know, I think that helps a lot. And I think, like, if you saw the draft and saw how excited the front office was when they picked me, like that gave me a lot of confidence as well. Like they actually, you know, want me here. Like they want it. You know what I mean? Like I just told you, like they tried to trade. They were talking about trading up. So it's like they have a lot of confidence in me, and I think that allows me to just play free, play loose, and never be pressing or anything, and just kind of just be who I am. And I think another thing about it is that you know, this is kind of just in college, like all draft heads, like draft junkies, like they loved me because of how efficient I was in college as well. And I think it's kind of just been who I am. And I think it's just trust in myself and confidence in myself. Like obviously you said besides the work, but I just think like being able to trust that and not taking many crazy shots. Like I get yelled at a lot for not taking more shots, but a lot of times I just let the game come to me and take what, you know, like I might have a heat check here and there if I hit 2-3 in a row, but a lot of times I'm taking shots that I feel like I can truly make every time, you know? So just, you know, being a person who understands like, you know, your limits at the time and what to work on during the off season.
I don't want to compare you to anybody because obviously your game is sort of every guy is their own sort of skill set. But when you were growing up, did you watch anybody who you tried to sort of emulate in various ways?
No, honestly, I wouldn't say that like in one person in specific. Like I'm a 2000s kid, right? So like LeBron James is was my favorite player growing up. So like I watched a lot of Cavaliers basketball. Like I had I had every team. I didn't grow up in an era of having a favorite team. I grew up in an era of having a favorite player. So watched like a lot of LeBron, but my dad's an old head, so like would make me watch a lot of like 80s Lakers games, like a lot of like Magic and stuff. And I feel like that just allowed me to be more creative as a little kid. Like I felt like I was making no look passes before everybody, like, or when I was younger, at least in my area, probably not around the country, but where I'm from, like I felt like that was something that I incorporated. Just being able to take bits and pieces from everybody, and like I used to stay up and watch the late Clippers games because like CP being has just been probably the best point guard in basketball for a decade, a little over a decade. So like for me, just being able to watch and just being a student of the game and loving the game, like I feel like there's just a lot of guys that I understood at a young age, like, well, he does this at a really good level, so maybe I should pay attention to what he does.
Tommy, I often feel very old around Tommy because Tommy's a '90s kid, and you really just dated me just now.
2000s kids.
Yeah,
we're gonna have more and more of them on the show, and you're gonna feel older and older.
Oh man,
Wow.
That's our guys' favorite line. Like De'Aaron, like, oh, you're a 2000s kid. De'Aaron, you were born 3 years ago. Stop it. You do not remember the 90s at all. Like, come on.
That's so great. That's so great.
Where can you shop Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Rolex, and more iconic luxury brands up to 90% off retail? The Real Real. It's the most trusted source for authenticated luxury consignment. Discover everything from women's and men's luxury fashion and accessories to fine jewelry, watches, art, and home decor.
It's all authenticated by a team overseen by luxury experts. Thousands of new arrivals come in daily. If you're in Chicago, LA, New York, or San Francisco, stop by one of the Real Real stores.
Take advantage of curbside pickup and more in-store services like expert repairs and personal styling, or shop online at therealreal.com and download the app for exclusive features. It's the sustainable way to shop for luxury. Get 20% off select items with the code REAL, REAL. Plus, new shoppers get $25 off their first purchase. Visit therealreal.com and shop all your favorite luxury brands today.
Have you had I know you mentioned the first preseason game with Dame shooting the logo threes and warm-ups and Carmelo switching to you on a double team, but have you had in the regular season, have you had a welcome to the NBA moment where you found yourself either in awe of someone or something happened where you're like, fuck?
Yeah, so far there's been a couple, man. We were playing the Raptors I think like a week ago, and we were up 20 in the first quarter, right? Like everything was going well. And then there was a little fast break. We're still up 20. Somebody fouls me, like a Euro foul at half court. And Glenn Robinson is running. I go to throw a between the legs lob just after and Van Vliet blocked it. And I'm like, okay. We end up losing the game by like 40. Like they beat us bad. I mean, and Fred was getting to whatever he wanted to get to. So I was like, man, like maybe that was it. Like I thought to myself, like, no, maybe that was it. And then we played the Trailblazers the other day. They beat us bad. Then they played us again. And Dame, they told me the pickup spot was 40, like pick him up at 40. And he shot it from half court. Coach was like, and I said, Coach, I know you said 40, but he just shot it from 50. Like, I don't know what you want me to do here. So I think those have been the two main ones thus far. Is that got those two guys thus far? Those have been my main two.
It's unnatural how far Dame shoots the basketball.
Yeah.
My first year in Philly, that was Ben's rookie year. And just based on our personnel, like I ended up having to guard a ton of point guards, which I don't know. I had never done that in my career before. And I was 30. I think it was my year 33 season. So I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? But anyways, I remember guarding Dame, and we went over that. Like, the pickup point is like 6 or 7 steps outside the arc. And, he comes down on a delayed transition. And I feel like I'm in like decent position, and he just he pulls 3 feet from where I'm at, and
Yeah.
you know, and there's been a couple articles about this, and he's developed that range. But it's a weapon that I just like. It doesn't actually make sense to me. Like I don't know. I don't think a lot of us, when we go to the gym and we get shots up, like we're practicing the 40-footer, but apparently he is. I think we all need to pay attention to what he's doing.
Yeah. No, I think just being like, I was in high school when Steph won his first MVP, and I think just what he's done for the game of basketball, like, the younger kids are now, they're shooting more threes. I think that game is just kind of adjusting to that, and now it feels like every team like there's multiple guys in the league doing that now. So it is crazy how everything's moving, and yeah, man, the NBA is just a little different. Like everybody can really score the ball. Like we played the Clippers last night, and I was just in awe of what Kawhi was doing, because it's like, like in college and high school, like dudes shoot the mid range, but they don't make it. Like, and then you get to NBA and they're like, yeah, analytics, and I was like, okay. Then Kawhi came out there, and it's just like it felt like everyone's going in. So it is crazy how it all works.
Have you guys played Brooklyn yet?
No, we have not played Brooklyn yet. We play them in late February.
Kevin Durant on the same lines as he's just different. He's just a different dude.
This is how some guys are,
7 feet and can just shoot unbelievable. It's wild. Are you paying attention? And I know we're 10, 12 games in, whatever we're in, but do you pay attention to the Rookie of the Year race? Are you cognizant of the buzz that you're getting?
Yeah, a little bit. I try not to be on social media too much, because there's sometimes stuff that can blow my head up, and sometimes there's stuff that can really get me going. So I try to stay out of it too much. But like my brother and stuff will always, read me stuff or joke around about stuff. So yeah, I definitely pay attention to it a little bit.
Do you feel in some ways though that you're going to be? And look, LaMelo has looked amazing, and I mentioned that earlier, but. It seems to me like he's definitely on the path to superstardom, and in some ways, because of your draft class, like you're going to forever be sort of linked to him, and you'll be linked to anybody in your class. But in terms of your position, you'll be linked to LaMelo for a long time.
Yeah, that's how it seems. Kind of just it seems like us two and Killian were the kind of the 3-point guards taken in the lottery. So. I think us three are going to be linked, for a while. So it's going to be fun though. Like I enjoy the race. I mean, more than anything, I want to, get the Kings back to the playoffs and compete for, a playoff spot this year with 10 teams being able to make it. So that's all that really matters, for me. And if I win it, that's cool. And if I don't, then too bad. I'm just trying to win basketball games. So, just trying to grow like every day. Like I know there's, ups and downs to a season, and it's crazy that I've already played like 12 games this fast. Like everything's moving so fast. Like I feel like I had probably my worst game last night, and it's crazy how it goes, because I felt like the game before that was one of my best games. So it's crazy how everything changes. But it is what it is. I think that we don't get much say so other than how we play. So I'm just gonna go out there and perform to the highest of my ability, and let everybody else do the conversating.
One of the great and bad things about the NBA is the amount of just the limited time in between games. Because in college, look, if you play well on a Saturday, you might not play again until Thursday.
Yeah.
So you have like 4 or 5 days to really feel yourself. You have 4 or 5 days to really feel good about yourself. And conversely, if you play bad on a Saturday, like you're down in the dumps for those 5 days.
Yeah.
In the NBA, it just happens so fast. Like I always I say like, it was all good just a week ago. Because like in a week you could have 3 bad games and all of a sudden you're feeling terrible, and vice versa. Where you get hot and you feel like you're the king of the world, and it didn't matter what happened 2 weeks ago. Tommy, I got a question for you. Have you ever heard in any trash talk vernacular anybody ever say "call God"? Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Neither have I. Neither have I.
I'm trying to think because it sounds like somewhat familiar, but I have no
I
concept
need to know. So Tyrese, apparently this was his thing at Iowa State, is that he would talk shit to his opponents, and he'd put a phone up next to his ear and he'd tell them to call God because they had no chance of guarding him.
Yeah.
What are the origins of that? I've never heard or seen that before.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Antonio Brown really started. He started.
That's what it was. Yes,
Antonio Brown started saying "Call God," and then I think we were at USA because I played in the under-18s before my sophomore year, and Cade Cunningham did this, and I immediately knew what it was before he didn't have to tell me. And I saw this, and I was like, it clicked. And like he's a good friend of mine, and so I ran with it. I think we were playing like Alabama, like a heated matchup in the Maui Invitational, and I was playing really good. And then I did it, and everybody was like, "He's dialing long distance. He's blah blah blah." Like I got the post game interview, and they asked me, and I was just like, I just was telling them to call God because he's the only one that could save them right now, So I ran with it. Then I got hurt. And so I had to wear stuff to games, and a couple of hoodies. I just put "Call God" on the front of the hoodie, and people loved it and stuff. And then we just sold shirts like that before the draft, so it was just something that I was just having fun with, and I think that people like Iowa State fans and stuff, we ran with it from there.
Did Fred VanVleet, did he scare you into not talking trash in the NBA, or do you feel like you'll let it rip one time in the NBA?
Yeah, I'll definitely let it go here. I'm sure soon enough, but I'm somebody who understands. Like my dad growing up, like I'll beat him bad in a video game or something. He'll still be talking, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you're losing. This is time for you to stop. Yeah, I feel like I have to understand, like, when it's time to stop, it's time to stop. And no, he didn't scare me anything. I think he's a good dude, and he worked out at Impact as well, so knows Joe Abunassar, who I worked out with pre-draft. So we're able to have some dialogue and stuff, and real good dude for sure.
You overlapped with Talen Horton-Tucker for a year, right?
Yep.
At Iowa State.
Yeah.
So I feel like for maybe some casual NBA fans, that's not a very well-known name, but there's this NBA Twitter. We're all NBA nerds here on this Zoom, so there's an NBA nerd subset that like is kind of obsessed with this guy and what his potential is. What did you see from him in your year together at Iowa State, and kind of what do you think his ceiling is?
Well, the funny thing about me and Taylor is we've known each other since we were like 12 years old. Like we could still remember matchups from AAU. Like I was on the Wisconsin Blizzard, he was on Chicago Select. Like we could still reference games from when we were 12 years old, and so we kind of knew each other growing up. And then he was obviously a 4-star guy, highly recruited dude, and then I committed to Iowa State, and so like 3 of us were committed to Iowa State when we were recruiting when we tried to get Taylor. So we put us all in a group chat. We were calling him every day, texting him every day, like, "Yo, we need you here." That he ended up coming. So it was really awesome for us to be together because we've known each other since we were younger, and I think that helped us just click right away. We were the two. We started. Taylor started every game. I didn't start the first game, but started from there on. So that allowed us to kind of just like we became really close through that bond. And I think like after the year, there was like I had a pretty good idea he was leaving. I remember right after the last game, like grabbing him, being like, "Please come back! Like, please come back! Like, we could, like, it will be me and you. We can do whatever we want." But obviously, you gotta make decisions best for yourself. I was looking out for me probably more than I was looking out for him. But he goes and gets drafted by LA, and I think we were both excited because both of us being NBA fans, like in 2000s kids, like LeBron's our favorite player. So like I was just like super ecstatic for him. And he played in the G League a lot last year, but I think being able to play, in the bubble in those last couple games, and then he even got some playoff run against Houston that I think people have been, really loving him for. And it's not surprising by any means what he does on a nightly basis, because that's just literally who he's been for as long as I've known him. So it's like what I see is not a surprise, but there are some people who are like go nuts about what he does, and like I see it and I'm just like, okay, like I know there's even more that we have yet to see. And I think what people don't realize is that Taylen is the same age as the rookies that, like, because we're class 2018, but he's a year younger. So really he should have been a freshman last year, and if he left, this would be his first year. So people don't understand how young he really is and what he really can bring to LA. I think, obviously they're, a championship team, right, coming off a ring, so they have a lot of pieces. But Taylen's a guy that's, he's ready for his opportunity, and what we see there. Trust me, there's a lot more to it.
Speaking of 2000s kids, friend of the show, Tyler Hero. So did you go to rival high schools? What was the connection when you were in high school?
So we started playing AAU together in the end of 5th grade, and we played all the way through until our freshman year. Then we split. We didn't play rival high schools. I mean, we just played, two different high schools, but he was like an hour and a half south of me. We never played each other in high school. AAU we did, but my senior year we played each other, and he had just got hurt the day before. So unfortunately he didn't play because the game was sold out. And then when people saw Tyler walking in the boot, everybody left. like everybody's like, oh, no point of this. So, but yeah, we grew up together for a little bit in middle school.
I need to know the description of Tyler Hero, the 5th grader. I need to know what Tyler Hero, the 5th grader's swag was like.
He is different. I would say who you see now, that probably started right when I got there, like 6th, 7th grade. Like 5th grade, he's just like, not that he's not normal, but he's just who he is, like people think it's a facade or like it's fake, but that's really who he is. And I think that like as like we got to like 6th and 7th grade, like we could tell like, Tyler is, that's just who he is. But as a 5th grader, he didn't have, and he'll probably text you about this, he didn't have nearly as much swag or as he does right now, but he was still, like, we went to nationals. I remember he would still go out there and kill. Like, that wasn't the problem, but he went out there talking and doing what he does, right now. I think that just kind of came with time. But we got together like late as like I joined his team like late 5th grade, and just kind of took off from there.
You can experience the epic adventure Wonder Woman 1984 in theaters and on HBO Max, now streaming at no extra cost to HBO Max subscribers. Plus, with HBO Max, stream the greatest collection of series, movies, and exclusive Max originals all in one place. Discover something new to watch. The Undoing, The Flight Attendant, His Dark Materials, and so much more. Go to hbomax.com or download the app to sign up and start streaming today. Wonder Woman 1984 is rated PG-13. It's available to stream on HBO Max for 31 days from the theatrical release. Have you ever watched the World Series of Poker on TV and dreamed of winning big like the pros? Well, you can. The official World Series of Poker app lets you play real-time poker with poker fans around the world. Own your Hold'em skills in virtual cash games and tournaments. Play in casino mode to go up against the house, or connect your Facebook account to set up a virtual table with friends. It's great. I played it, and it's as close to the real thing as you can get.
Yeah, JJ. The WSOP app is a great way to improve your poker skills, and it's free to download. And as the #1 free poker game, WSOP always has tons of players online to match up against whenever you want to play. Best of all, you can get 1 million chips as a bonus gift when you join today.
So what's the holdup? Download the WSOP app in the Apple App Store or on Google Play and Amazon now. And don't forget to use my promo code WSOPJJ for 1 million bonus chips when you sign up. That's 1 million bonus chips when you download the WSOP app using promo code WSOPJJ.
JJ and I were talking about this last week after everything had happened at the Capitol. You were outspoken. You were outspoken in the press conference, and you were also outspoken on Twitter. We both were, really impressed with what you said, and I think that everyone listening at home or watching this should go check it out for themselves. But when you were sort of weighing like how to weigh in and everything like that as a young guy, like what was going through your mind in terms of sort of your commentary on the situation?
Well, first of all, like when I didn't understand because in the morning I saw that people were at the Capitol, and I was like, oh, just some crazy people. It's just I was doing treatment. I was like going to tweet something. I was like, like right away it was like they were like, oh, there's a couple hundred people at the Capitol fighting with police, and I'm like, I was gonna tweet out like, oh, what would happen if like a lot of people have been saying like hitting it on the head, like what would happen if they were black or if they were fighting for something that that was previously it's been going on in our country, but I let it go, and then everything happened, and I was like thinking of something that I could say that would encompass like everything that I was truly feeling. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to shortchange anything or make a thread of tweets and just keep going on with 1,000 words that nobody wants to read or anything. So like I guess like I had a couple jab backs at people. I replied to old Trump. There's tweets for everything that are kind of old takes, right?
Well,
so
there
I kind
were.
of got into
There
yeah
before
for sure.
the ban.
And there's definitely way more. Trust me. But I think like my biggest thing was I wanted to be able to have that dialogue, like that conversation. But we had a game, and I think my biggest focus is like, like I obviously want to play well, but I would also like to speak about what's going on. Like how could I do something that I could put my feelings out there. And I fortunately had a good game that night against Chicago and had media, and they told me I had media, and I was thinking about maybe I'll talk about it before I answer any questions, or I'll talk about it after. And then I got asked a question by one of the people from the media here in Sacramento, and I kind of just rambled on about how I really felt, just trying to be as authentic and real as possible. I think that where we are, in our world today, and just kind of where the NBA is, I feel like I play in one of the best leagues in the world to be able to stand up for and speak my mind about how I really feel. And I just had to make that be felt, because I felt like I've talked about this before, but I felt like in college or even high school, like I would kind of be scared to talk about these things because I didn't know how that would affect me in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know if I said this now that being a college student, like if I come out and say something like this, will there be, there are obviously people who have different political stances, but will there be people who are like really angry at what I have to say, like won't support me anymore, or it could affect me if I want to go to the next level. And I think, kind of now being in the NBA has made me feel a lot more like freedom and a lot more confident to really speak about how I feel. I mean, I've followed these issues and followed, our modern day, politicians and people who are fighting for change. I've been following them since high school. My old Twitter is deleted now. I lost it a while ago, but like I was going, I would have things to say, but I never got to speak about, like, truly get everything out because of the fear of not being judged, but not being able to, if that would affect things in the future. And I think now that I'm here, and the good thing about the NBA is that the money is pretty much guaranteed. So I feel free to kind of speak about how I really feel.
You'd have to say some really dumb shit.
Yeah,
You'd have to say some really dumb
crazy
shit.
Yeah,
it's interesting to hear your perspective on that, because even as 4 or 5 years ago, like, this was not the part of the role of the modern athlete. It wasn't to be outspoken. It wasn't to be politically active. Between Colin Kaepernick, certainly the WNBA, and then just the last 4 years of Trump, and of course with COVID and George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, everything that's happened over the past 4 years, and even going back, if we could go back to 2014, let's say with Michael Brown and Ferguson, like, all of a sudden it is part of the role of the modern athlete. It is part of, and Landry Shamet, when we had him on, Tommy, post boycott in the bubble during the playoffs, he talked about just the burden. Why is the burden fall on the modern black athlete to be outspoken, to have a voice in this? And it's awesome that you're already comfortable in speaking on this, and we all look forward to your development on the court, of course, but we also look forward to your development as a person and developing your own voice and being a thought leader. So really kudos to you, man. Enjoy watching you play so far. My only request is a 1-for-8 game with 4 turnovers tomorrow. Okay. Go easy on us. All right. We're on a 5-game losing streak. We need a win.
Yeah. You guys lost some tough ones, though. You guys have lost some
Bro,
tough
three of
ones.
them we gave away. And then like the Clippers and Lakers, like whatever. We played the Clippers tough. We had a terrible second half against the Lakers, but our first 3 losses in this streak, we literally we gave them away. We had big second half leads and gave them away. All right, man. Tyrese, we appreciate the time, man. You were awesome. Best of luck, man.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, JJ. Look forward to it.